Hello fellow YouTubers and welcome. Today I'm looking at the tech line tree for the Des Moines, the heavy cruiser that we all know and love. And when you get to tier 8 you get the Baltimore. Now is the Baltimore really up to playing randoms in these days? Bearing in mind that a lot has changed in the game and there are now a lot of ships out there that can do really serious damage to a Baltimore. Anything with gun caliber above 381 millimeters is going to overmatch your nose. So the days of bow tanking are virtually over. And you can see this lightning. Another thing is the guns are a little on the floaty side, so you have to lead your target quite well. But when you get it right, oh yes, she's still very much got it. 5 pence. Lovely ship. It's been a tough grind. It is a tough grind. And I wonder if maybe you'd be better off using something like asymmetric battles to grind this ship with, or maybe to skip it with free XP. However, with some reluctance, I'm going to do a tier 10 random. And we'll see how it turns out. We'll check it out and see if the original gangster, the Baltimore, the original gangster of heavy cruisers, is up to the task. Okay, the map's Greece. This is the perfect lineup. We've got a carrier match. We've got a lot of tier 10s to worry about. So it would be very interesting to see how this ship performs in the current meta. With us we've got a Montana, a Sicilia, a Valparaiso, a Ferragrossa, a Umahari, a Bismarck, an Utrecht, an Aguirre, a Baltimore, a Gearing, and an Asashio. And against us we have an Asashio, a Shimakaze, a Nezebek, an Alaska, an Utrecht, an Ipiranga, 2 Ipirangas, I do apologize, 2 Ipirangas, a Lepanto, a Missouri, what else have we got, a Begonia, an Aki G, and of course the Malta. That's a pretty scary lineup actually. I'm going to have to play this very carefully indeed, because we are essentially made out of paper to anything with gun calibers above 381 millimeters. And I'm looking at you, Aki, and I'm looking at you, Missouri, and I'm a little bit scared. I've got a Gearing with me and I'm rather hoping he's going to smoke me up, but we'll see. There's an Asashio below us, a Missouri, the Utrecht, and the Lepanto. Okay. Quite a scary lineup. Of course, the Lepanto doesn't give a crap about my armor profile, as he'll be firing sap. And it's going to hurt. And it's going to hurt a lot. Okay, there's a Missouri with her 406mm guns. Got to keep half an eye on her. It's very important to pay attention to your mini-map when you're in a lower tier ship, because one mistake and you could be death struck out of the game. Okay, our Gearing's laying torps and seems somewhat reluctant to scout the cap. Okay, I know the Asashio technically outspots him, but even so, there are no radar cruisers in the area, so could be the Missouri actually. I believe the Missouri has radar, doesn't she? Yeah, I would definitely say that she is running scared. The Gearing's running scared of the Missouri radar, which is fair enough. You don't want to get caught by that in the open, that's for sure. Okay, what's this? Malta torpedo bombers on our flank. Of course the carrier's focusing my flank.
Set a smoke screen.
This is going to get really interesting really fast. I need smoke. And the Gearing's going to oblige us. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good man. Well, you'll be getting a +1 from me. And the carrier's dropped me anyway. Oh no.
Taking on water quickly.
Okay. And he's come round for a second drop into the smoke. But I fear the enemy ships at Lepanto and the Missouri more than I do a Malta's torpedoes. So we're just going to take that and stay in the smoke for now. Unfortunately, this ship doesn't have any heals, and I think that's what's missing from for the meta for this 2026. It would be very nice if they did add a heal to this ship, bearing in mind that we now have ships like the Bridgeport or the Bridport and that exist and have heals and so on and so forth. So it would be very nice if they would add a heal. It would give you a bit more survivability in these difficult matches when you're up against tier 10 aircraft carriers and tier 10 battleships. In this case a tier 9, but it's still a pretty scary match for me. The enemy team's already lost both of their upper anchors and then there's one, which is interesting. That's interesting. And what's this? Hoving up beside me, the Flota Grossa. Okay. Alright. So we've got to be really, really careful. Luckily the Aki is absolutely miles away from our position, but we just lost one of our ships. We lost the Valparaiso to the Aki. And I'm just going to keep fire on the Lepanto, and what we're trying to do here is set fires with the excellent 2 or 3mm guns. We've got a fire rate of around 10 seconds normally, but with Adrenaline Rush that'll be a fraction faster at around the 9-second mark because of my health. You know, clearly I took those 2 torpedoes so that I could lower my reload. Yeah, that was the plan right there. Oh, this is painful. This is painful. Of course, their Asashio's taken C. No sign of our gearing. He's headed off north. Don't know what our gearing thinks he's doing. I mean, he did drop me a smoke, and I really appreciate that. What we really could do with you in the area, harassing C and keeping these targets lit. Although, to be honest, they're close enough now that that is no longer an issue. God. Gearing could also have used his torps to zone out the enemy ships and stop them pushing. But, oh, he is now. It looks like he's plucked up a bit of courage. Our Montana's just took out the Lepanto. That's excellent. We managed to get 3 fires in total down, which is decent. The damage isn't terrible, and we are shooting down planes, albeit very slowly. I mean, like all American cruisers, she has a pretty high AA value, and she is strong. Although I wouldn't recommend running AA defensive fire in your slot. On the Waikiki I've got Hydro. I find Hydro much more useful for giving you information about targets in smoke and torpedoes that are coming your way. And of course now we have submarines to think about as well. Hydro's become even more of a must pick. Okay, there's the Utrecht hiding behind the island. The Asashio's right up in front of me. Let's get some shots down on the Asashio. We are a radar cruiser after all, so let's get the radar on him. Stealthy son of a gun. And see if we can force him to stay. You do have to give the shells quite a lot of lead. Okay, we've got his engine. Because of the floaty nature of the shells, the shell velocity is really quite slow. Can we hit him again? Yes, we can. 5 hits. Oh my goodness. We've done some serious damage to the Asashio. We've really put the hurt on him, and he's got a broken engine, and he's not doing very well at all. Hi, Montana. I'd like to go behind this island if it's not too much trouble, instead of being sat flat broadside to all and sundry. Fortunately, there are no battleships that can take advantage of my rather embarrassing position. Okay. More torpedo bombers incoming. I wanted to get onto camp and use the island, but the Montana's blocking me. Groovy. Groovy. Okay. Still lit, so the Asashio is still out there somewhere lighting me. Although we're not too entirely sure where. Yeah. Okay, we're not lit anymore, so he's outside my detect of 10 kilometers exactly. No, 9.9, I do apologize. 9.9 detect on this ship with this build. I'll show you the build at the end of the match. Okay. I'm a bit stressed, as you can imagine. You really do have to keep your wits about you. There's still an Aki in the game that could dev strike us, and the Alaska could certainly hurt us pretty bad as well, unless we angle correctly. There's also a Begonia to worry about. Okay, we're on cap. Tomcat. And the Alaska's just taken out the Bismarck. Okay. But all in all, our team is doing quite well. You're not going to carry in a Baltimore in a high-tier match, okay? And there are probably, these days, other alternatives to grinding. I mean, you could free research through, or you could use asymmetric battles or operations to get your XP that way. She's not a bad operation ship, and she's pretty good in asymmetric as well, as long as you don't give away too much broadside to the bots. Okay, we're going to secure this cap. Yes, okay, cap secured. And I'm going to try and nobble that Asashio. He's still laying torps. The Photogross is managing to avoid, but I assume that's because he's got his hydro running. No, did he take a hit? Looked like it. Look, deep water torpedoes coming his way. Okay, so the Asashio is using the deep water torps, and the torps I just saw were from the aircraft carrier, weren't they? There he is. There's his. Okay.
Concentrate fire.
And there's his deep water torps. Yeah. So the Photographs got hit by a multi-torp, I suspect. Can't see anyone else reaching him. We get him. Oh, that dispersion let me down really badly. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm just going to flick the mouse around him and just hope I get lucky. Apparently not. Okay. Well, we will maintain pursuit. Very tricky to take out a destroyer when they're moving away from you like that. And, of course, now he's low health. The panic has set in, so he's weaving like a boss. And wouldn't anyone? There he is again. Okay, right, smoking up. Try that. No, he slowed down too quick, but he's in there somewhere. I'm gonna have to guess. Oh, he fired. He's there. Come on, shells, don't fail me. And we get him. Okay. When the guns are more accurate to fire into smoke than they are to fire open target areas. The dispersion on those two shells that went into the smoke were really tight, so as long as my guess was accurate, I knew I was on a winner. Okay, let's hit the mortar. Got a fleeing mortar over here to kill. Now we can use the heavy AP because she does have American AP, which is disgusting and does tons of damage. But of course, our carriers destroyed the mortar with a torpedo. Right. Fine, so we won't be doing that. Okay, carry on. So, we secured C, we chased off the enemy destroyer using our radar, we managed to sink the enemy destroyer, so we're still very much performing the role of a radar cruiser in 2026 against increasingly harder to kill opposition. So yeah, you can play randoms in this ship, but if you are nervous about the idea, I wouldn't blame you. There are a lot more threats now than there were in 2025. So there are a lot of ships to consider now that can shred you. Ships like the Hawaii and the Bremen and the Aki are things you need to be looking out for. And not to mention, of course, all the usual suspects. Okay, there's a steamer over there. Okay.
Victory is in sight.
Okay, I've just realised why my shots have been shaky as hell. My mouse is actually locked on 6000 DPI. I never play at that level. I got a new mouse for Christmas, you see, and I'm still getting used to her. I will slow that right down and things should get much, much better
Our
from
team
here.
is taking the lead.
Oh god, 6,000 DPI. I like to play at about 16,000 roughly. For sniping and stuff like that, I usually go with 800. And then I usually split the difference and have a 1200 setting for those really smooth tracking shots where you want to track the target. Okay, there's the Begonia. Let's put some fire on him. You can see it's a lot smoother now. Yeah, so I've got my control back. And we get a fire on him. Huzzah! The joys of PC gaming, right? Mouse sensitivity, oh my god. No, my old mouse carped it just before Christmas, of course. So it needed replacing and fast. Okay, that's gonna hurt. That'll teach me for talking about mice. Okay, the Alaska almost dev-struck me. He saw an opportunity to hit my Citadel from that far off range. Where is he? He's at 14.6 kilometers, so it wasn't the easiest shot for him, but he did manage to do quite a substantial amount of damage. He did, well, about 14k and woke me up. This is the thing. If you get distracted in the middle of a match and you're the lowest tier ship in that match, chances are you're going to be back in port pretty quickly. But I can recommend the Baltimore for randoms. I think she's still, if you're with it and awake enough, she still is a really good ship and great for dealing with enemy destroyers. And her radar is very strong. I will show you the full build shortly. Okay, did we get the Alaska? Yes, we did, and we win the match. Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay, let's take back to port. See what we've got. Look at the match. Oh, I got an expert. Okay. This is my American account, you see. I'm playing on the North American server at the moment. Started a new account there recently, and I'm grinding for the Des Moines. Wow, we did pretty good, didn't we? We did better than some of the tier 9s and 10s. Okay, this ship still has it. The original gangster, the Baltimore, still has it in 2026. That's my personal opinion. The meta's changed. We have a lot of ships now, a lot of battleships in particular, that have guns that are bigger than 381 millimeters. We also have pattern bombers in the game now. So if you're camping an island, and there's a Dutch cruiser in the vicinity, chances are he's going to pattern bomb you. So again, you have to look at the threat situation, you have to find out where the pattern bomber cruiser is, and you have to make life uncomfortable for him using your radar. Get him out of there if you can, or preferably sink him, because these Dutch light cruisers are a pain in the ass, as are the heavy cruisers actually. And you'd be facing ships like the Harlem, and it's annoying. Trust me, it's annoying. And of course, if you're in a tier 10 match, there's even more likelihood of pattern bombing Dutch ships, including the destroyer Tromp. So there are a lot more threats out there than there used to be. There's also a hell of a lot more torpedoes in the water than it used to be. So when it comes to equipment, I always slot Hydro over AA defensive fire, okay? The main reason being that there are now so many ships that can chuff out torpedoes. You need to know where those torpedoes are. You need a little bit of warning. She's not the quickest ship. She has no heels. Her maneuverability is, yeah, okay, 34.1 knots with the speed flag, right? 7.8 second rudder shift. Not the worst, but trust me, the Hydro just gives you that extra safety. Plus, if your radar is on cooldown and you have a smoked up destroyer within 5 kilometers of you, you can use your Hydro to light that target. Also, there are a lot of submarines in the game now, and Hydro is really useful for picking out those submarine targets for your team if they are close by. And by close by, I mean really close. If we look, we can see you've got airstrike, you've got 2 attack flights, okay? You've got all these tools available to you. They've only got a range of 7 kilometers, mind, so bear that in mind. But if you're not comfortable playing randoms in 2026 in the Baltimore, you have other options like asymmetric battles or operations would be two areas I think the ship does well in, okay? So you can get a feel for her, alright? Anyway, I'm now going to show you the build. Right, let's look at the captain's build. And that's what I'm running on my Baltimore at the moment. It's a pretty classic heavy cruiser build that will work well with all the ships on this line. I'm a little concerned about the slow rotation of the turret, so I tend to do that. Okay, because I don't like the slow turret rotation. Yes, they're 203mm guns, so yes, they are slower. But we can speed them up a bit with greaser gears, can't we? So that's my personal preference. Other people's opinions may vary on that, and I don't blame you if you want to pick something else. Total respect to you for that. Survivability expert, because, well, you don't get a heal, right? You don't get a heal. So I want to be as tanky as possible. So I give myself a few extra hits like that with survivability expert. You can also go with outnumbered and top grade gunner and go with this build. This build's being used a lot. You can swap survivability expert for superintendent. But let's have a look at the equipment. Okay, this is the equipment. All right. You could take surveillance radar modification 1 if you have the coal. That will enhance your radar further so it lasts longer. Okay. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Thank you.